adults who range or who fall in the age range of 22 onwards to 28 or 29. So Erickson की stages के हवाले से अगर इसको देखा जाए, so this is the stage where adults are actively looking out for intimacy, for emotional connection, for a companion that is not only there physically but emotionally as well. So what I noticed is that a lot of females that I take sessions of, they have this idea about themselves that we will be able to succeed, we will be able to feel happy, be happy if there is someone who will come and fix us or complete us. So I cannot go out and mm, do this exercise because अकेले कौन जाए, मैं अकेले नहीं जाऊंगी. I have thought कि मैं जो हूँ जब I'll go with my husband, and most of the times this kind of thinking is influenced by parental figures and by the culture we are in कि शादी जब हो जाए तो husband के साथ बाहर जाना, या शादी जब हो जाए तो तब ये लिपस्टिक लगाना, या जब दूसरे घर चली जाओ तो बाल कटवाना या इस तरह की ड्रेसिंग करना, अभी मत करो. So naturally the thinking that we might develop as adult is that okay, there's something that will always be incomplete, there's something that is broken, and in order to do that or in order to get that fixed, we need someone else to come and rescue us. Now Cinderella was relying on Prince Charming to actually rescue her from that household and also give her some sort of financial security as well, if you read the real Cinderella. So Cinderella complex जब females में आपको नजर आता है, I won't generalize it because it's not like everybody who will come up with a need for or with a longingness for emotional connection might have Cinderella complex. It's very different than that. So I'll repeat it again. Cinderella complex is very different from the emotional need that we all have as an adult to connect with someone. In Cinderella complex, you are completely waiting and relying financially as well, emotionally as well, and socially as well. You're relying on someone else to come and rescue you and come and save you from that whole idea of happily ever after that you have. It's very interesting because one of my clients were actually stepped into therapy because she had certain anxiety concerns. She used to feel a lot anxious when it comes to social situations. Part of her personality was that she felt very uncomfortable when she was in situations where she had to interact with males with opposite gender. And at the same time, there were a lot of multiple relationships that she had been into. And throughout the course of therapy, she realized that the only reason she never took time off or took a break from seeing people because she was not really comfortable in being with her own self. So she continuously switched partners or went into different relationships so that she can stop and pick that ripe apple for herself. That okay, this is the one who would be there for me, who would take care of me, and who would pamper me. So I hope I've answered that for you.
Definitely. Okay, we've just gone live on Facebook as well. Sorry, there was a glitch with that. So we've gone live now. So anyone who's
Okay.
watching on Facebook, I just want to rehash everything we've covered. We've covered how to breaking stereotypes like body image, uh, like okay, we've covered different stereotypes, and we've also considered the
Yeah.
negatives of cartoons, how they build
Yes.
up stereotypes and different tendencies, and yeah. So we'll just continue with that. Sorry. Okay, that was
Hello,
our
everyone.
first little.
Yes. Those who have just joined us on Facebook, welcome to all of you. So far, it has been a very good ride. We are now moving ahead with the session, so stick with us. There is an activity that we have done.
Yeah,
So if you want to be a part of that activity, by all means, stick to our session, stay tuned to this session, and you might find out something about it.
yeah. Oh, there's another stereotype I wanted to talk about. I want to ask this question from everyone. If you meet someone and they say they have a step family, like a stepmother or stepsister or stepbrother or stepfather, what's the first thing that you ask them? I mean, for me, I'll say it without. I mean, it is a bit shameful now because now I realize, oh, that's wrong. But the first thing I always used to ask was, oh, are they nice to you? Like, you're okay with them? Do you have a good relationship with them? And I realized just
Yeah.
now that it's because of Cinderella that I used to do that, because of the stepsisters
Yeah.
and Lady Tremaine. And
Yes.
that's so powerful that we condemned a whole person that we don't know just because
Yes.
of stereotype.
Wow, that, and I think before even asking this question, एक gesture होता है जो पहले हम देते हैं कि Chara. So yeah, Bichari. I mean, why? What about it made you think that that person ultimately falls into the category of Bichara or Bichari without even realizing कि sorry, context क्या है? Like you said, कि background story क्या है या वो इंसान जिनके साथ वो रह रहे हैं, what is about that made me think this way. So yes, absolutely. This is one of the major prominent stereotypes that everybody has grew up with. Yes,
Yeah.
stepmothers are bad. अगर मैं hero की बात करूँ, so heroes are perceived
Amazing.
as
Powerful.
powerful rescuers. They, no matter what, no matter how, they will always be there to save us or to
Yeah.
rescue us or to save the world. But heroes, by the end of the day, are human beings, right? So for people who have been charmed by Superman, Batman, or other different heroic characters, there might be something about those characters that they might have internalized as well, being there for other people, being there to an extent that you never are comfortable asking for help or asking for support system because you will be perceived as weak. Okay, oh my god, how can I appear as a weak person when people are relying on me? And this happens especially, I would use the word especially when you belong from a healthcare sector. If you're a doctor, if you're a psychologist, if you're a mental health practitioner, or even if you're a psychology student, this comes naturally to you to just like be there for other person or be available
Yeah.
for them. But we are so
Messiah complex.
uncomfortable, yeah, so
Yeah.
uncomfortable even saying, okay, you know what, I don't feel good, or I'm low, I might need someone to listen to me, and we are scared of being vulnerable in front of other people. So I think
Yeah.
we are yet to see a movie where we see a Superman who is perfectly imperfect, who is taking a flight, but he falls as well, who has a red beam, but it sometimes breaks the wrong glass instead of always breaking the right glass. So we are yet
Yeah.
to see that.
Definitely. I mean, like in Maleficent, the evil fairy was, she did a bad thing, she did, but then she also turned back. So I think that was a great try of breaking that stereotype from Disney. They didn't really do it that well, but it was a good try.
Good try. And somebody mentioned about Spider-Man as well. So yes, Peter Parker is Peter Parker. Yes, Peter Parker.
Yeah, Peter
Peter
Parker.
Parker is, yes, one of the characters जिसको आप पहली दफा देखेंगे तो आपको कभी भी नहीं लगेगा कि ये शख्स सुपरमैन या सुपर हीरो टाइप ऑफ चीज बन सकता है. So how they actually talked about that idea of, you know, a common person, a common man having so much strength that he ultimately turns into a super character.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so if we move on, so how does mental health come in cartoons? So my idea was that I believe that cartoons can actually help kids and adults with trauma. Okay, I saw that a lot of people posted about this as well, and there were a few researchers done as well that from Frozen 2, there were two songs, I think Show Yourself and The Next Right Thing, that actually helped people with depression or suicidal tendencies or a lot of different things. So, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Sir Fazan has also sent a video talking about how cartoons can help with trauma. So I'm just going to play that now.
Great.
Okay.
Regarding trauma, you pick up any cartoon like Lion King shows trauma of loss, very severely the loss of the father for a young child. And maybe the reason why it gives me goosebumps is this thought of losing a father. It's scary. And as a young child, when you're watching it and you see this, I remember I think I did cry even in those times. And here, if some boys are sitting together, let's say 10-year-olds, and watching it, and maybe somebody wants to cry, and the other boy says, "Hey, don't cry, it's just a cartoon," that can be more damaging. So rather than really let go of the emotions and watch it, I mean, I would urge the parents to really support watching cartoons together, and really talk about it, because when you talk about it, talking about the cartoons and the drama, the story, it really puts more perspectives, I mean, better perspectives rather than what you're really seeing. Because some cartoons can have a dilemma, can be saying two different things at the same time. And like, in Lion King, if you pick that up again, the guilt, when Simba goes into guilt, and the child never really gets out of it also, because he takes the guilt more strongly than anything else from the entire plot. For example, and this can happen to somebody who's already been subjected to a lot of abuse. Earlier traumas of abandonment, rejection, domestic violence, and those things really hamper our brain. They change our perspectives. Even when you're watching something positive, you wouldn't be able to take a lot of positives, but that child takes the negatives more and would relate to it, because we associate with those things that we have picked up from earlier on. And that is what neuroscience, the modern attachment research, talks about, that earlier experiencing of relationships, parenting, um, experiencing school, emotions, people. If we go through adverse experiences, then that really can make it difficult for us to go through, because our brain gets into a more hyper arousal state.
Okay.
That's so
So
well put by Faizan.
now, and I wish he could have been here with us. I'm sure he'd have more insights. So
Definitely, definitely. I'd like to add to what he said. What he said is so beautifully put that it doesn't leave any room for more to add. But I'd definitely like to add one point here. When we are watching cartoons, or the reason why we all get so excited when we get to know about a remake of something that we used to watch in childhood, कि Lion King का second part आ रहा है, या Mulan is now being released. Why are we so excited about these movies right now in this phase of our life? Because there's always a part of us that we get to live through that character or that movie. We never were able to do that in person, or we might not be able to do that while we are an adult. But whenever we see that movie, there's a part, there's an experience, there's an emotion that we get to experience through that character, which is why movies and cartoons are taken as an excellent medium for closure and for emotional channelization. If you're watching, like he very beautifully gave the example of Lion King and death of um, Mufasa. What was the name of the king? Mufasa, right? Okay, I think lost Kindra. So the death of the character is so moving that audience who is watching uh, or who are watching basically tend to be part of that experience with Simba. In the similar way, when we are watching movies, there is a certain character, उस पूरी movie के अंदर there will be one situation that will stand out more to you because it provided you with that emotional connection. It provided you with that resemblance that made you feel that yes, you can relate to that character because you have been there, or you have seen what it is like to feel what that character might be feeling or might be experiencing. But when it comes to trauma के अंदर cartoons are used as metaphors, especially when we are dealing with clients in therapeutic settings. There are beautiful metaphors that you use in order to help your client gain perspective from the experience and then move ahead while keeping that experience with them. So if I talk about Harry Potter, there's a charm that Harry most of the time uses. एक तो Expelliarmus है where he disarms the contender, but when they're reading and talking, wow, Kinza, you just bewitched me. I'm now people might see the inner child in me. Let's come back, Rida. Let's come back. Okay, yes. So Harry Potter के अंदर एक charm है that is ridiculous. So when
Yes.
Lupin is teaching them, right? So everybody's fear is projected, and they get to see what their fear is like, and उस fear को वो un comfortableness से comfortableness की तरफ कैसे ले जाते हैं by adding something to it that is funny or that is humorous in nature. So with trauma, it's very important for a therapist to help the client express what it is like, validate those emotions for the client, and then whenever the client is ready, help them to see what was in that experience that actually was an insight for them, that actually helped them learn from it. With kids, you get to do that a lot. If they're scared of something, you ask them to add something funny to this character, maybe make the nose big, make the ears wobbly, so that they get to see that their fears can also be something that can make them laugh too. So metaphors are brilliantly used in therapy and through the help of cartoons. जिस तरीके से
Definitely.
Dexter हो गया, Dexter के cartoon के अंदर there's always when he gets into the lab, that's the sign that he's about to create something. So most of the clients are given his example that what is their ritual that would make them feel that they're ready to get into the game and do some work or do something.
Yeah. That's really cool, and that's just such a small way that cartoons really help us. They give us insight in such. I always feel like that cartoons put life in such a simple. You can just understand them more simply. Like I remember this cartoon came out Inside Out, and it was so beautiful the way they talked about how joy and sadness can be one emotion that you can experience them together, and that's such a
Yes.
bright and beautiful thing. So I'm just
Definitely, that's a wonderful.
yeah. Sorry, you were saying, ma'am?
I was saying Inside Out is a wonderful movie for enhancing our emotional vocabulary and emotional awareness. So it's a wonderful cartoon and movie.
Okay, so I'm going to move ahead. Okay, so there's one last video from Surfazan. I think it's his closure video. He's going to give closure to what everything that he said, and then we'll move ahead with that. So I'll just
Great.
We know that cartoons do leave a mark in us, like they leave a stamp in us. They leave some aspects, the character leaves some influence in us in such a way which unconsciously we inhabit and we follow through, which may take a form of courage, which may take form of friendship, leadership, aggression, the ability to never give up and move on no matter how difficult the circumstances are. That's what I picked from Naruto. What I picked from Spider-Man was with great power comes great responsibility. So as a therapist, it comes to me very naturally that I have to be there for my client, just be present and see where they are stuck and then facilitate their journey. Similarly, you would relate to it. It's relatable. All cartoons are relatable. So I'm just going to leave you all with the thought that find your inner character, figure that out, and a mix of various. There will definitely be a mix of various. So start reflecting, everybody. And I will be available over email address in case you have any questions. Once again, apologies for not being here live, but I hope what I said made sense and contributed to something that you would take and cherish. So, just like they say in Looney Tunes, that's all, folks.
okay. So I think Surfazan actually alluded to our activity as well. So
Yes.
how did he know?
That was very smart of him. Thank you, Fazan. So I think everybody, we are now moving towards the
So
third
I
step.
think we can continue with that. I think we left.
Definitely. So A, I'll just quickly give everyone a recap. I'd like you to think of a character, a movie, a storybook that you used to relate with or used to like a lot when you were a kid, when you were a child, or when you were a young adult, teenage में जो भी favorite cartoon या favorite character या favorite storybook थी, क्या था उसके अंदर? The second step was the character or the book, whatever you have chosen. What are the similarities between you and that stimulus in terms of traits, in terms of maybe action, in terms of maybe environment? What do you think is making you both similar in nature? The third part is that, as Faizan said as well, that try to see what your inner character is like. I'd like to extend it, and I'd like everybody to analyze and reflect what kind of script are they following, what kind of story are they following in their life, and the cartoon that they have picked or the story or the character they have picked. First try to reflect कि उस कार्टून की उस कैरेक्टर की स्टोरी क्या थी, क्या हुआ था उस स्टोरी के अंदर, उसने क्या किया था, स्टोरी एंड कैसे हुई, एंड देन ट्राई टू सी कि आप अपनी लाइफ के अंदर कौन सा स्क्रिप्ट फॉलो कर रहे हैं. व्हाट आर यू फॉलोइंग इन योर लाइफ राइट नाउ? आपकी लाइफ स्टार्ट कैसे हुई थी, मिड में क्या चल रहा है, एंड हाउ डू यू सी दैट इट्स एंडिंग? And then you'll be kind of amazed by how similar your childhood character and your current life script is. We might say that we have no idea as to what we are doing in our lives, and sometimes we actually do not have any idea. And in those uncertain times, these kind of activities might help us. Going back to what we used to do as a kid in order to find that calling, in order to find what truly speaks to us, what truly talks to us. So Kinza, do you want to share if you'd like to, so that our audience can get a certain idea as
Sure.
well?
Okay, sure. Well, for me, I absolutely love Merida's story about finding a balance between who she was as a person and her family and the things expected of her. She didn't have to break free of who she was. She didn't have to quiet that voice, but she could find a balance where she was happy and so were her loved ones. I really love that. And that's what I try to do in life as well. I try to make sure that I as a person am not stifled, while also making sure that the people around me are happy. And yeah.
All right, that's super sweet. So is there any similarity between how Merida's life script was and how do you see your script as?
Oh, there are similarities.
All right.
Stubbornness and the not understanding part is very, very real. I trying to overcome that, but it's a journey.
Yeah. Of course, it's a journey. It will always be a journey. So it's never going to end. We are all a work under progress. So anybody else who would like to ask anything, share anything, I'd love to know. I have put a shortcut broom here because my life script is actually pretty similar to this. Just like Harry Potter's story revolves around fighting the evil, and not only fighting the evil, but fighting that evil inside us. So Horcruxes and Horcruxes. They're not just Voldemort's Horcruxes. Harry himself was one as well. So how can we develop that first find that Horcrux within us and then come to make peace with it? Because remember, Harry never tried to remove that part within himself. He'll always be known as Voldemort's sacrificial, the boy who lived and everything. Why? Because I think this is what I work towards as well, that we all need to be perfectly imperfect. We all need to understand that we have flaws, and those flaws are there for us to make us unique instead of asking us to suppress them, repress them. So yes, when we are talking about script, my script is identifying what is my Horcrux, and then working towards that Horcrux and helping other people as well, like his friends were helping him. So Harry was also learning to groom himself as well in terms of uh, growth, in terms of charms, in terms of learning new ways to come up with dealing with situations, all of those are part of his script, where he is hopeful that yes, someday I will find Voldemort and I will save Hogwarts. And I'm not aiming for that, although I'd love to create a Hogwarts, but I am aiming towards creating a Hogwarts for everyone, where they feel okay being okay who they are, where they feel that they have a safe space to come and talk about their experiences, and where mental well-being is a norm. It's not a luxury, it's a norm. So yeah, kudos.
Definitely. So I think that was a wonderful, wonderful end to what what we want to say. Is if anyone has any questions, either write it in the chat box, or you can just speak aloud as well if you want.
Yes, definitely. I'd love to know if anybody else has any experience. I'm just making sure that this doesn't fall off on my head. It won't now. Yeah. So I'd love to know if anybody else has any question or anything that they would like to add that might help us to learn more about the topic.
Yeah. Mm. Um, oh, by the way,
Okay.
Ms. Rita, did you know there actually is a Hogwarts in Scotland? The castle that they sometimes shut in is actually there.
Yes, I do. I do. I wait to visit that place one day, inshallah. I will. And I think लाइव स्क्रिप्ट को मैं सम अप थोड़ा ऐसे करना चाहूंगी कि हमने कार्टून्स की तो बात की, बट कार्टून्स को हम देखते इसलिए हैं क्योंकि वो हमारे लिए एक आइडिया क्रिएट करते हैं हमारे माइंड में कि हम कैसे लोगों के साथ रहना चाहेंगे, हम कैसे लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करना चाहेंगे, और हम खुद कौन है. तो हमारे लिए बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है इस बात को अंडरस्टैंड करना कि किसी दूसरे के साथ, if you are a therapist, if you want to help someone else, if you want to help your clients, it's very important for you to first identify your own processes, your own internal world, so that you can help your client as well. If you are somebody who is really intrigued, really psyched up about cartoons and movies कि ये क्या होते हैं, मैं अभी भी देखता हूँ या देखती हूँ, for you I'd like to say that keep up the spirit, keep your inner child alive, and try to see that when you would now, after this session, if you get a chance to reflect, what kind of script would you like to go with for your life? What kind of title would you like to give to your life? क्या नाम देना चाहेंगे आप अपनी life को? What kind of ending do you think of your story? And that will help you understand a lot about where do you want to go and how you would like to go about it.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, goosebumps. Okay, so I think that if anyone else doesn't have any other questions, I think this could be a very fitting end to our session. It's very mysterious and spooky.
Yes, I think we had a happily ever after when it comes to this session.
Definitely, it's like achievement.
Yes, good job, Kinza. Thank you so much for making me a part of this. Hop House of Pebbles is doing a wonderful work, and I can't wait to see what else they have got in pipeline, what else they have got for us to learn from, to grow from, and of course to add value in. So thank you so much for your time, for your passion, for Hop's passion, and for everybody who joined us here as well today.
Oh, Ms. Rita, thank you so much for actually agreeing to do this for me. I was actually really hoping that you would, but I was like, maybe if she's busy, because I know you are. But thank you so much for taking out the time, and everything you said. It was absolutely amazing, and I had so much fun.
Thank you. It was equally a treat. So thank you, everyone. I think we are signing off.
Yeah. Okay. Allah Hafiz, guys. Allah Hafiz, Ms. Rita.
Bye bye. Bye bye. What's the Allah Hafiz for it? Abada Kedava. Very wrong spell, but yeah, I'd like to choose it because it's ending. Okay. Bye bye.